Hi everyone, it's Anna. Welcome. Today I am going to be talking to my dear friend Kyle Dvorak. We've been friends for a super long time and we actually had a really long conversation, so I'm not even going to be able to fit it all in today's episode. So I will put up some of it today. We talk about things like authenticity, not putting ourselves in boxes, which can be super easy to do as performers, and that there's no shame in changing your career path and doing something different with the degree that you get. So I hope you enjoy this episode.
Hi.
So this is Kyle.
Hi, everyone.
And he's wonderful. We've been friends forever.
Very long time.
Tell me about your journey from, I don't know, way back when to how you got here on this couch.
So, have been very passionate about performing for like my whole life. Videos of me running around singing Charlotte's Web. A very natural like trajectory. I think everybody always looked at me. It's like I did plays during snack time as a kid. Had the Grease soundtrack, casted the whole thing. We can fast forward a little bit. Yeah, I just always did it. I was always performing. I was always, didn't really find out that I liked singing until much later. But what had happened was that I started to be told by like vocal instructors and people that I was working with that I just needed to be like more challenged. They had felt like I had kind of reached the point in my hometown, which is just a very small Republican, Catholic, tiny little place. Glad to be away from it. So that's when I joined Prelude, actually, and that's where we met.
Prelude at MacPhail. It's like a singer-actor program for high schoolers.
And I highly recommend just like their whole philosophy in terms of education and keeping kids engaged in the theater community. Yeah, went to Drake, studied musical theater. I performed professionally for probably, I want to say about like a year and a half after I got out of school. Yeah. A lot of the things you've been talking about, like the financial rigors of it and the, just I think the difficulties that every performer goes through. I had lunch with one of my friends who's a Minneapolis performer once, and she said, theater never leaves you. And I think that that's something that's funny because I think people like to pretend that it's on a timeline when it's not. I think you can enter and exit the community at like any point you want to. I just think that I made a decision when I moved back to Minneapolis that the timing didn't feel right. My auditions weren't going well. I call myself more of like a patron of the arts now, but I definitely feel like I have to remind myself that it is never going to leave me. I'm capable of going back to that whenever I'm ready. Here I am.
Here you are. I love it. So we kind of want to talk about this idea that we don't want to put ourselves in boxes in terms of like who we are as performers. I mean, that's again why I started this, as you all know, if you watch episode 1. I'm
Rewind.
Rewind. I'm a trained opera singer, and I no longer want that just to be my only option. I no longer really want to do the young artist track. I kind of want to branch out and just like be a performer. That's what I'm really passionate about, but it's scary to navigate it when like 6 years of my life was like dedicated to just, doing that young artist opera track. Talk to me a little bit about like your experience mentally going through this idea of like, okay, I went to school for 4 years to do theater and everything, and kind of grappling with adjusting expectations and adjusting your thoughts on like your own self and your successes.
The funny thing is it's like, I think it was so impacted by what I thought other people were going to think. Yeah. And the minute that I made it about myself and what I wanted, I was actually very at peace with it. But it was that I'm going to disappoint my professors, that I spent all this time. But like, you're doing that to yourself. You're putting yourself in that mental position to be like, because no one's like, unless someone is flat out being like, I can't believe you're not doing theater anymore. Like, it's like, no, but no one ever said that to me.
Well, yeah.
And honestly, it's like, it's like once I really struggled with it because of the fact that I felt so put upon, and I felt like I spent all this time, I spent all this money, and I love it. That's the thing that sucks, is it's like, it's not a measurement of your passion if you decide to go a different direction, or the timing just isn't right. And I think we live in a world that just kind of, you know, wants an answer right now and wants everything to be like instantly gratified. And I don't know, it's like once I made it more of like a personal decision to just be like, this is what's right for me right now. I didn't make it about everybody else. And then I was fine with it. And also, I will say, it's like, I talk to performers that are friends of mine all the time, and they're going through this too, where they're like, I studied this, I audition all the time, I'm not booking, I'm not making the kind of money I want, whatever their personal agenda, journey, whatever you want to call it is, it's okay to feel like that. And I think to find that you also have a community on the other side being like, hi, I'm still here, I still like to sing, I still like to perform, but I'm doing something else because I had different priorities.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you a bad person.
And it doesn't make you, like what you said, it doesn't make you any less passionate about performing or any less like wanting to do, you know, theater or anything. I mean, like, I talked to another friend of ours, Morgan Gray, kind of earlier, and she didn't go to school for theater at all, but she stayed really engaged with like choir and stuff in college, and like now she's super into the community theater, you know.
And if you didn't follow her on Instagram, she's absolutely hilarious.
Funny. And Twitter
so
too.
Funny.
She's so
Hi,
funny.
Morgan.
So
Love you.
so yeah, it's just, I think like there's this huge stigma, you know, around being a performer, you know, this idea of like a struggling artist and like starving artist and like putting it all out there for your work. Yes. And that's such a romanticized view of art.
I'm gonna live in New York and I'm gonna have like a light switch that doesn't work and like a tub in the kitchen and I'm spending like $1,000 to suffer.
Like 1990s, like.
I watched too much bullshit growing up because it's like,
but I think
that life is not fun, really.
But that life is not fun, and it's not the reality for a lot of performers. But this idea that, like, you know, if you're not struggling, you're not passionate, or if you're
not up in that equity line at 5 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, and don't misunderstand me, I have so many friends who live in New York, LA.
Yes,
they are busting their ass. And I am proud of them every day. But that is not for everyone. None of this is meant in disrespect. Well, none of this is meant in like a judgment. No. It's just that your passion is measured by like, you know, what you do and how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
And like, you know, what you love.
Yeah, and
it's not about everybody else.
Right. And I think there's a lot of shame around having a priority that's not just performing. And I know I ran into this a little bit in like high school and maybe a little bit in college, but this idea that like, if I want to do something else, that means I don't deserve like roles that I'm getting, or I don't deserve these things. And I think there is a lot of shame around like having different priorities, like maybe being like, maybe you don't make enough money as a performer to sustain a lifestyle that you want to have. Right. And so that's a priority to you. And if that priority is enough to like make you want to switch your career path, that's fine. And I think there should be more dialogue around that. And I think that there should be less shame and less judgment. Or, you know, I don't even think there's shame or judgment. I think we put that on ourselves. We think that people are going to judge us for these things, well, even if they're not.
I do think that people can be haters also, but you have to remember that it's like, it's your life. You need to take the reins. Like, your time comes. Everything comes back around. It's like, do the things that you care about. I'm not gonna say like don't listen to everybody else, because it's like opinions matter. Right. It's what makes the world. Right. But it's like you need to be the leading lady of like your own life.
And like listen to the people that are like looking out for you. Don't listen to just like any voice that like has an opinion. I mean, opinions are like assholes. We all know this, right? Everyone has them. But there are people in this world that are looking out for you, that are, you know, your mentors, your good friends, your partners in life, your parents, like those people whose you know, opinions that you trust and value, and you know that they're looking out for you and not on a different agenda. I think it's like that idea of that, like, you listen to those people and you don't just listen again to like anyone.
Well, and listen to yourself.
Yeah.
I think we spend a lot of time being our own worst critic. Oh yeah. And creating, you know, those boxes for ourselves just by like the mental headspace that you're in.
Yeah. But, So talk to me about your Instagram.
What do you want to know about it?
Well, it's perfect. I kind of want to like talk about these new avenues that you've discovered, and I feel like you've discovered these because of your performing background.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this idea that you're taking some of this knowledge that you've gained as being a performer and being trained in performing,
I'm just
and
an artist in general, right?
and applying them to kind of other avenues in your life that are maybe not theater.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun, honestly, being able to like leverage my degree. And that's something that I think people need to remember, that it's like, I was very lucky to get more than just like theater classes. It was a very well-rounded education. And I think on that note, it just gave me the capacity to be able to just make things so applicable when applying for jobs or when curating my brand as just like a person.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about this. It's something that I really struggled with initially because I felt like I got a lot of shade thrown at me for just being extra and being myself. And that's not going anywhere.
Right.
So the minute that, excuse me, but the minute that I stopped giving a fuck what everybody else thought, the minute that I just started posting like the content that I wanted instead of what I felt like was what you're supposed to do, like posting a picture of like your cat or like, you know, and it's like no shade. Post what you want on Instagram. But I'm just saying, don't shade other people who are also doing what they want.
Yeah.
Because half the time that people have an opinion about something, they're probably jealous or they're probably, you know, whatever. But like, it's like, don't give such a shit about other people's stuff.
People, just in general.
But you know, so for me, it's like, I love art, I love fashion, I love hair. There's so much about me that it's like, it was so applicable in theater because those are things that have to be like manipulated to like play a role.
Yeah.
And so when you're manipulating it in your life to be like, well, this is, you know, it's like today's very 70s and, you know, tomorrow could be very like 20s.
Yeah.
You know, it's what your mood is. And I just feel like my account is very much like that too, where it's just like, you're never going to see like the same thing.
Yeah.
You're going to see like all of my different clothes, all of my different moods, the different like lighting levels and editing techniques and stuff like that. And, you know, and it's like, also it's like something that I find really inspiring about what you're doing, and I also do it, is just like having like a communication with your followers. That's what it's there for. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you have 5 followers or if you have 1 million followers. They're there, they're watching you, and ultimately it's like, they do care about the kind of content that you put out. And if you ask questions, people will answer, even if it's only one person.
Yeah.
I always just felt like, you know, I think, again, it's like you put those mental restraints on yourself, and it's like, I just started posting playlists on Spotify every Wednesday, and that's been so fantastic because it's gotten me back into music that I haven't listened to in a really long time, starting the conversation about music with other people. It's just not being afraid that it's like, if you have a following, you have a following.
Right.
So it's just like, utilize it.
Right.
And yeah, I just think it's really important for people just to be like authentic and true to who they are and not really listen to all the bullshit, because there's a lot of bullshit out there. So.
Yeah. There totally is.
I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it totally did. And it made me think, like, you know, personal branding in today's day and age.
And it's something that they want in theater now.
It's so important. And especially for commercial work. They want you, you know, on those websites, they want you to attach your Instagram profile to these things because they want to see what you're posting and like things like that. I feel like your biggest advice in this, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like it's just like not giving a fuck about what other people think about you, but like
authenticity.
So where can people find you?
I am keeping up with Kyle Dvorak. I don't have Snapchat. Instagram is kind of my one primary focus.
And Spotify.
Yes, I do have a weekly playlist that goes up every Wednesday.
And it's great. It truly is great.
I mean, if you're following me, it all kind of like makes sense because it's just like very much in my like aesthetic.
Yeah.
But.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so sorry that I couldn't fit in the whole episode, so I'll have to do the kind of second portion of it in a few weeks. So please stay tuned for part 2 with Kyle Dvorak coming up in a few weeks. Have a good week, everyone.